and the last thing I'd see would be those blue eyes bearing down on me. But they didn't. Their eyes moved, and their heads, and when we got to the bottom, we changed positions with me in front. We couldn't go around the outside edge this time, but we didn't have to. They parted around with synchronized, subtle movements, perfectly in lockstep. Rebecca was holding onto my shirt tail now, and practically pushing me by the butt to go faster. Then we were going through the throng and back into the hall, with the outline of the door at the end. It was right there, so close I could almost taste it. I couldn't run though, because something in the back of my mind told me that those things watching us were, despite their appearances, predators. If I moved too quickly or ran, they'd attack. Step by agonizing step, we made it down the hallway, and when my hand gripped that doorknob, I felt such a flood of relief and joy that I knew no other feeling would ever match it. No drug or raunchy escapade would ever give me the feeling of being so alive. The feeling made me shudder. Dale leaned forward and patted me on the back. "Good job, kid." Even he seemed a bit happier, and he smiled at me. "You did good." Behind him, they all stood together, gathered around the end of the hall, silhouetted by the pulsing light behind them like blue-eyed shadows. "For those who come to San Francisco." Then the music cut, and the look of dread on Dale's face made my stomach drop into my boots. He spun around, and we all watched, waiting, involved in a staring contest with people who couldn't blink. Then the television on the other room started making another noise, like a radio zeroing in on a station. "Dale," said the voice, oscillating between a little girl's falsetto and the deep bass of an old blues singer. It sounded like someone trying to tune a human voice the way they might a guitar string. "No," said Dale. "Dale." It was zeroing in on the pitch now, with the range narrowed down to only include altos and sopranos. "Dale." And on the last syllable, it stuck in a pitch and timbre that seemed strangely familiar to me, and held out the name until the floor seemed to vibrate underfoot. I shined my light down the hallway, just as the mass of bodies at the end of the hall shifted and parted the same way it had for us earlier. Only this time, a small girl walked out from the midst, dressed in a nightgown with soft brown hair in ringlets past her shoulders. "I've missed you, Daddy." The effect of the voice was strange. The girl's mouth moved with it, but the sound was still coming from the television in the main room, making the whole thing feel like a poorly dubbed film. It had been so many years since I saw her. I'm a bit ashamed to admit that I don't even know I would have recognized her if Dale hadn't whispered, "Jen." "Don't take my friend away, Daddy. She just got here. Please." Rebecca twisted the place where she held my shirt tail, her little hands shaking. "Please don't let them have me," she whispered. "We won't," I assured her. "Dale?" "Why do you do this every time?" Dale asked. He laughed a little as he said it, but it didn't hide the quivering in his voice. "It's never worked. It's not going to work." "Do what, Daddy?" "I just don't want you to take my friend away. I just want you to see how happy and safe I am here. Don't I look happy?" In the light of the flashlight, the muscles in her face jerked into life, spasming like a spider's leg after it's been crushed, with part of her lips pulling up as the other side jerked into a frown before both sides reversed. With much twitching though, her lips finally managed to expose all of her teeth in something that, well, if it wasn't a smile, it might have murdered a smile once and skinned its corpse. "Don't I look happy?" the voice asked, and she opened and closed the mouth completely out of rhythm with the words, her lips pulled so far back that she looked like those joke teeth you wind up and then they bounce across the